Charles, congrats on the win. I'm sure it's not exactly how you would have preferred. It was closed out with the 20-point lead there in the third quarter. But what does it say about your guys to, have Detroit rally back and then not having Lamelo for overtime to see some guys step up, particularly making some defensive plays and obviously Brandon making some big shots there in overtime?
Yeah, proud of the group. I love how we stuck with it. To your point, we did a lot of really good things to build a lead, both ends of the court. I thought Melo played great offensively. Even his defensive pressure, I thought was really good, and it kind of sparked the rest of our group too, and gave us a lot of energy and life early on in the game. And then when he went out, to your point, I thought Brandon stepped up and made a lot of great offensive plays. Cody Martin's block on Ivy towards the end of the game. Musa getting his first start and rebounding like a monster. So great team win. Even Taj Gibson coming up with that ball at the end of the game. Like every possession mattered, every hustle play, every competitive effort was really good by the team. So proud of them for sticking with it.
You have a lead like that and everything seems to be going in and kind of humming along like it was in the third quarter. What, I guess, are some of the challenges that can be presented when everything feels good but still have 15 minutes to go in the game? Like, I guess, what are some of the, how hard is it sometimes to close out a game even with such a big lead like that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to win in this league. It's hard to hold on to leads. I think we've seen around the league, as many teams play fast and how many possessions are in the game and all the offensive rebounding, the amount of threes that are being taken. It's and all the talent. It can be easy at times to kind of erase some big deficits. And so I think the biggest thing is just trying to value every possession. I thought, we just had some costly turnovers that helped them get back into the game. For the most part, I really liked where our defense was. I thought our offensive execution a lot of times was really good. So kind of credit Detroit for finding a way to turn up their pressure and intensity. And like I said, we got to do a better job of just valuing the ball and taking care of it.
Brandon's favorite player is Paul George. Everyone knows that. But it seems like today he was able to score a lot without dribbling the ball, kind of like Klay Thompson. What is it like when you have a shooter who can get it off the ball, off the dribble, but then also can catch and shoot and drain it from anywhere?
Yeah, it's an amazing luxury for us to have. I'm so proud of how Brandon's just continuing to grow and blossom. I think that, the comparisons are always great to have, especially when it's a player of like Paul George. But to me, he's his own player. He scores at all three levels. To your point, he does a great job of being able to play pick and roll and make decisions, and good passer, willing passer, can score at all three levels. And then off the ball, his catch and shoot, his ability to read closeouts and drive it and finish above the rim. And then I think he's continued to add to his defensive efforts as well, like started the game on Cunningham and closing the gap, refusing to be screened. I'm really proud of his growth and stuff. And so the comparisons are great, but I do think that Brandon's going to carve out his own niche, and it's going to be a lot different.
Coach, you talked about Miller, and he was saying that, listen, my teammates want me or urging me to shoot more, urging me to kind of take over more. Do you have to do that? Is that in his nature? I mean, is he kind of more of a unselfish player? But you got to keep pushing him to score more.
Yeah, I would classify him as he's a winner, and he wants to win. And sometimes he'll sacrifice some of his own scoring to make sure that he's just impacting winning, however he needs to do that. And so sometimes, he does want to get everybody involved, which is a great thing. And at times we have to say, hey, B, like right now, though, into shot clock right now, we need you to take this ball, get us to our spacing, and go make a play. And so he embraces that. And, when you remind him, he has no problem going to get a shot, though.
and LaMelo, again, those fouls, we keep talking about the fouls, but some of them are kind of not smart fouls. I mean, the reach, they got him the third foul was, and then the overtime. What do you got to do to just get those, eliminate the mental maybe mistake fouls?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of different fouls. Sometimes you get an unfortunate whistle. Sometimes you're trying to be aggressive and do the right things and getting your hand just kind of stuck in the cookie jar at the last minute and stuff. But some of them are more competitive than I think people realize. There's some tact maybe to it. So we'll continue to watch film and try to get better about positioning and getting the spots early.
What's your philosophy when Lamelo gets in foul trouble early? They're matchup hunting Melo. They're making sure they get him in the post defensively. What's your message to him? What's your philosophy there with sticking him out there on the court despite 3 fouls early, 4, and it keeps building?
Yeah, I think we're working through like learning each other. You know what I mean? My first year getting to work with him, but I have so much trust in him. I think that he drives a lot of what we do offensively, and defensively he's continuing to get better and better on that end of the floor too. And so really as he accumulates fouls sometimes during the game, I'm reminding him of how many fouls he has. You still need to compete. You still got to close the gap and be the most important guy, but be mindful about, swipe downs and things of that nature. And
Going back to that word we keep hearing is connector. He spoke to Cody Martin at shoot-around today. Going into this game, he was 46% from 3 at home. He's 3 of 4 tonight. Josh Green is 3 of 3 tonight. Musa, you talked about his performance. Can you just encapsulate what those 3 guys do for you, even though you have people like Brandon and Melo who can still put up points and fill the box score?
No, it makes us a more complete team, a more dynamic team. When you have guys that don't need to be the primary ball handlers, they can play off the ball. When Melo and Brandon and Miles are doing some handling or they're in isolation situations. So their ability to just be great basketball players at the end of the day and connectors helps our team because even if they're not getting shots, they're crashing the glass and they're changing the complexion of the game that way. They do a phenomenal job of screening too. And I also think that they're all kind of like, they can be offensive initiators for the most part outside of Musa, where they'll bring it up, get us into our sets, get us organized. And so it's a really nice luxury, to your point, when you have some guys like that that are willing to play their role in helping us.
Coach, it's been a wild 48 hours for you. National and local storylines with you benching Lamelo the last 4 minutes of that game against the Nets. Here's an OT win and a tight one against the Pistons. First-year head coach, what's it been like for you the last couple of days?
Yeah, you continue to go about your day and you rewatch the game and the film. And yesterday we had a productive recovery and player development day, and you meet with some players and you recap the game. You talk about expectations going forward. You get the scout ready for the Detroit Pistons and shoot around the next day. And I thought this morning, we kind of talked about what it means to what it took us to build a lead in Brooklyn, what it looked like for us to lose a lead in Brooklyn, and then to battle back and fight back in Brooklyn, and kind of trying to grasp all the highs and lows of that game and talk about just sustaining all of our efforts. Like, we know we can do it, but if we take our foot off the pedal, we have to understand that we can be beaten and teams can catch up. And so proud of the guys for their response today after a tough game, like you said, in Brooklyn.
And you've mentioned Musa a couple times. Are you having any conversations with Jeff Peterson about upgrading that 2-way contract for Musa?
There's lots of conversations on a daily basis, and yes, Musa is part of some of the conversations. Thank you.